Motivation Equation Consulting here. Teaching is learning and learning is teaching. Let me tell you something. And I don't care whether it's you being whatever you do in the field of education, not necessarily just teaching. You do something better than anybody else on your campus, maybe even in the entire world. Don't let anybody discount or downplay what you do well. You cater to your strengths. You downplay your own weaknesses while you make your improvements to get where you need to be in your craft. But nobody's going to teach that class for you. Nobody's going to write those lesson plans for you. Well, I guess they do have services where someone they can do that for you. And then a lot of school districts, there's one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, one particular school that is an A school. They don't even do lesson plans. That's another debate for another day. But whether it's your personality, the fact that you're willing to put in extra work and your work ethic, maybe it's the relationships you have with those students. Maybe it's the level of patience that you have with those students. Maybe it's how meticulous you are in your documentation. Maybe it's the way you dress. That matters. I dress a certain way. It's probably not what many people may think or like for an educator, but I do it for a reason, and it's effective. And it's not shirts and ties and all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, that has the opposite effect at the school I work at. But maybe you're well versed in your content knowledge. Maybe you actually care about the kids, but don't allow your light to be dimmed because somebody doesn't see the value in your talent and your ability. Sometimes having the best content knowledge doesn't necessarily make you the best teacher. I understand you have to do what you have to do for evaluations and for walk-ins and things of that nature. But you're there for those students. And you're there to get results with those students. And we all also know sometimes you don't get immediate results. If you have to use your union, if you have to sit down with your principal, if you have to explain what you do, if you have to actually show the type of value that you produce, well, do it. For example, I'm a business education teacher, and we're often overlooked, but by knowing, and it did help greatly during my years as an assistant principal and principal, learning how the work I did directly affected the school performance score. So there's a school performance score calculator, and I can show you exactly how certain things I do affects the school performance score. So it's not just core area teachers who have a positive effect on the school. But you know what your value is. It does help if you can articulate and you bring your value. A lot of educators don't understand. Education is still a business. I got that as a principal, and I understood how to get value out of every person. And I was looking for value in every person. I wasn't playing the political games or trying to make sure a certain person was treated a certain way. I was trying to make sure the kids got the best outcomes. So in reverse, I can tell you what I bring to the table that actually brings value, and you can't dispute it. It helps for you to know that about yourself. That's called being marketable. You never know when you might want to market your skills for another opportunity, because as you will hear me say often on this channel, take advantage of other opportunities. I'm not saying walk away from teaching, but in your spare time, use your time and use your talents for other opportunities. But while you're on the campus, because you have these people in our field, unfortunately, who wish to put you into some type of cookie cutter mold, or there's some type of political game going, and if you don't fit into the mold or into that game, they'll harass you and bother you and that type of stuff. Hey, don't worry about that. And there's ways to beat that too, by the way. if you're following the policy, you're doing your job, and somebody's just bothering you just because something that falls outside of the actual job that person doesn't like. We're in the midst of a teacher shortage. There's no reason any administrator should be harassing any teacher right now when you can lose your teacher on a whim. I digress. But you as a teacher, you as a person, you as an individual who God has given talent to, recognize your talent, be grateful for it, and pass that information on to these precious children because they need it. God made you who you are as an educator for a reason. Don't let anybody try to make you into something else and try to redefine you. Now, if you choose to redefine yourself, okay, well then redefine yourself, because you must have discovered that there was a reason for it. But just because somebody wants you to dress a certain way, but it's not violating policy, or speak a certain way, or arrange your classroom a certain way, and I guess if it's going to get you a better evaluation, okay. But like, for example, my kids can talk a little bit, and a lot of school or observation rubrics do allow for that as long as it's productive. I'm loud sometimes. I laugh sometimes. I may do things that other educators may consider outlandish. I'll give you a perfect example as an administrator. At one school I worked at, I would get in the weight room with the boys and lift weights. I still do that now sometimes. They challenged me to arm wrestling contests. Well, you know what? I still do that now too. So these are all current things. Every now and then the kids who run track, they'll ask to race. Now my knees are getting bad. I can't quite win the races like I used to, but I still win most of them. Don't get it twisted. But so what I get from certain educators was, that's childish and that's unprofessional. And look, those same students would try to find ways to skip the other person's class and come in mine. And of course you can't do that, but the point I'm trying to make here is I actually enjoy what I'm doing. The kids enjoy my presence. It makes work an absolute joy and a breeze. So I'm wrong because my students like my antics and enjoy whatever it is that's going on, other than just Benstein, clear eyes, dry eyes. No, I'm not that type of teacher. I'm me. I'm not about to wear shirts and ties. I'm not going to do the clear eyes, dry eyes routine. I'll tell you something else I don't do. I'm not big on decorating classrooms. My classroom gets moved frequently. I do other things on campus besides just teaching. I'm just not a decorative person. I'm one of those people who can still teach a classroom with just a chalkboard and some chalk. So I don't waste my time with it. It's not who I am. I've had observers try to force me into putting apples and signs and posters and all this crap. I don't need that. I don't want that. My children don't come to me and say, well, Mr. Motivation Equation, your posters don't look all that. Them kids don't care about that. They care that I actually care about them and that I have value to bring to them and that I can teach them some skills that they can use in real life. See, when my kids ask me, well, how is that going to help me in real life? I can answer it. I can even put dollar signs on it. Now, how's a poster and some decorations going to help? Well, for some teachers, hey, that's the environment that they want to present, and there's nothing wrong with that. But why force that on a teacher who's bringing you value, who doesn't need it or doesn't utilize it? And then I've had another observer ask nicely, hey, could you do this? You know what? Since you asked nicely, great. But if you're going to just, and I'm speaking for administrators, why beat up on your teachers about some trivial stuff? Because I guarantee you, an administrator who's trying to hawk somebody down about some ticky-tack stuff, I guarantee you, look at their track record and their results. Because, see, the things we're talking about have nothing to do with curriculum. Now, I will say this, teachers, if you're speaking to someone who has a record of being a stellar teacher with stellar observations or actual school turnaround experience as an administrator, okay, if that person with some real results is being ticky-tack, okay, that person is bringing something of value to you. And even then, if it's possible for you to take what they're saying, but there's just something you need to do uniquely to you as an administrator or as a teacher, then you got to do what you got to do, or at least have that talk with your administrator. You'll learn, and it's so sad. It's so sad. There are some administrators who are just out there to try to mess your career up. There just are. And for anybody who would dispute it, I guarantee you'll probably see some people in the comments section who will say otherwise. And it's sad, but if you watch my videos, I can show you how to work around those people. But school administrators, if you're looking for value in people, you can take what it is that you need them to do. I mean, if you're good at what you do, you can show them how to do it in a way that's comfortable for them in many cases. Or you can understand that they can do what it is that you need without trying to make them you. They're not you. They're them, and you're you. They aren't violating policy. They aren't causing waves, and you aren't appearing on the news. You should have more important things to worry about as an administrator anyway, with all that we have going on in schools these days. So that's my message to you teachers. You're special, you're individual, you are talented. Make sure what you're doing is within policy and it is bringing value. But that's part of the joy of education, is taking what you have, that special gift that only you have, that's that certain type of delivery, whatever that trait is, and passing it on to your students. That's your gift from God, directly from God to you. And if you don't believe in God, then whatever you believe in. But that's unique to you. It's one of the most precious things you have as an educator to give. So don't let it get snuffed out. Give those gifts. They matter. Motivation equation. Teaching is learning, and learning is teaching.